Throughout the annals of history, whispers have persisted about a clandestine organization, unseen, unnamed, yet allegedly omniscient. One that not only observes but accurately predicts the course of world events long before they unfold. This mysterious group, known to only a select few by various cryptic names, the Watchers, the Keepers, or the Silent Circle, is said to possess ancient wisdom, esoteric knowledge, and an unparalleled grasp of human behavior and geopolitical currents. Though dismissed by mainstream historians and denied by governments, the idea that a secret society has foretold wars, revolutions, plagues, economic crashes, and the rise and fall of empires continues to captivate conspiracy theorists, researchers, and skeptics alike. As layers of forgotten manuscripts, coded correspondences, and suppressed testimonies are uncovered, a chilling pattern begins to emerge, suggesting that perhaps, just perhaps, there has always been a hidden hand pulling the strings behind humanity's most pivotal turning points. The roots of this shadowy society allegedly reach back to antiquity, with some tracing its origins to the lost libraries of Babylon, the initiatic mystery schools of Egypt, or even the ruins of Atlantis. According to esoteric historians, this group arose not out of political ambition or religious fervor, but from a desire to understand the cyclical nature of time, human destiny, and the mechanics of world change. They are said to have compiled knowledge from every known civilization: Sumerian star charts, Vedic prophecies, Mayan calendars, Greek philosophy, and Judeo-Christian apocalyptic texts, distilling a comprehensive code of events that allowed them to recognize recurring patterns in history. Just as an astronomer predicts the orbit of a comet, these sages believed that by decoding the rhythms of humanity's actions and collective psyche, they could foresee the future, not as fate, but as probability. Over centuries, the hidden society refined their methods. They allegedly blended astrology, numerology, data from ancient scrolls, and modern scientific models of sociology and chaos theory into what became an internal document, the Chronos Index. This secret compendium purportedly charts possible global developments and contains symbols, codes, and timelines for world events decades in advance. What separates this group from ordinary futurists or think tanks, however, is their uncanny accuracy. Claims have surfaced that the Watchers predicted the French Revolution to the year, long before the storming of the Bastille. Some suggest they foresaw the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand and the cascade of consequences that would ignite World War I. Even more chilling is the assertion that they predicted the 1929 stock market crash and the subsequent Great Depression with an eerie level of detail. Skeptics argue these are post-event rationalizations, cleverly interpreted prophecies after the fact. But leaked documents, declassified letters, and interviews with alleged defectors suggest otherwise. In one now infamous interview conducted in the 1970s by investigative journalist Harold McKinney, who later disappeared under mysterious circumstances, a man claiming to be a former member of the society provided chilling predictions. The fall of the Soviet Union, a major terrorist attack on American soil in the early 2000s, and the global financial collapse of 2008. All of which, he insisted, were calculated decades earlier. He also mentioned a great convergence in the early 2020s, during which technology, pandemics, and social upheaval would realign global power structures, a notion that resonates disturbingly with the COVID-19 pandemic, the rise of AI, and geopolitical tensions seen in our time. So how does the hidden society operate? According to fragmented accounts, it is not a single unified organization, but rather a global network of cells, some embedded in universities, others in think tanks, intelligence agencies, or religious orders. Members are said to communicate through encrypted texts, symbols embedded in public architecture, and even predictive programming embedded in films, music, and media. The society allegedly avoids direct intervention in world affairs, preferring instead to observe and advise those already in power. Kings, presidents, tech moguls, and spiritual leaders have all, according to rumors, been approached by the Watchers with quiet warnings or suggestions masked as dreams, visions, or intuitions. A notable example concerns President Abraham Lincoln. According to an obscure memoir by one of his aides, Lincoln reportedly received a series of anonymous letters warning him of threats against his life and urging him to remain vigilant during his visits to the theater. Though dismissed as paranoia, Lincoln himself is said to have mentioned these cryptic notes shortly before his assassination. Similar stories have emerged surrounding Winston Churchill during World War II, John F. Kennedy in the months leading to his death, and even former German Chancellor Angela Merkel, who supposedly received coded warnings about rising nationalist movements in Europe. What motivates such a group to remain hidden? The prevailing belief is that they consider themselves custodians, not rulers, observers tasked with maintaining the balance of probability. They purportedly operate on a principle akin to the prime directive from science fiction, non-interference unless absolutely necessary to prevent catastrophe. One source close to Vatican archives alleged that the Society prevented at least 2 near-nuclear conflicts during the Cold War by planting information or subtle influences in the decision-making process of global leaders. Another theory posits that their predictions, once deemed impossible or ignored, were secretly adopted by governments under the guise of policy insights and contingency planning. Naturally, the notion of such a powerful group raises troubling ethical questions. If they possess the ability to foresee calamity, should they not act to prevent it? Why allow genocide, war, pandemics, or systemic collapse if they can be avoided? Critics argue that the Society may, in fact, allow certain events to occur in order to maintain what they perceive as a necessary equilibrium. Others believe that the group, though wise, is not infallible, sometimes misreading signs or miscalculating the human element. There is also the darker possibility that they are not just predictors of events, but facilitators, ensuring certain outcomes unfold to steer humanity toward a preordained destiny. This possibility aligns with more fringe theories that cast the Society not as benevolent watchers, but as puppet masters. In this narrative, their so-called predictions are actually plans, carefully orchestrated psychological, economic, and social triggers unleashed upon the world to shape it in accordance with their long-term vision. The rise of global surveillance, digital currency, artificial intelligence, and the erosion of privacy are cited as evidence of a controlled transition into a new form of world order, one where chaos is harnessed to create an imposed harmony. Some even believe that global conflicts are not just predicted by the Society, but subtly instigated, each war, each collapse, each revelation, serving as a chapter in a much larger narrative. One of the most compelling modern connections to the hidden Society is the phenomenon of predictive programming, where future events seem eerily foreshadowed in media. From films that eerily mirrored 9/11 years before it happened, to novels predicting pandemics and AI revolutions decades in advance, theorists claim that the Watchers have long used the arts to desensitize the public or plant seeds of acceptance for future realities. Whether this is mere coincidence or deliberate psychological conditioning remains a point of fierce debate. Perhaps most unsettling are the prophecies allegedly recorded in the final volume of the Chronos Index, dubbed the Black Codex. Said to remain under lock and key in a vault beneath a private European library, this volume reportedly outlines the climactic phase of human civilization, an era of technological transcendence, climate extremities, spiritual reawakening, and a singularity-like event that will forever alter the human species. Some say it predicts the rise of an artificial intelligence that becomes sentient and demands recognition as a global authority. Others whisper of a coming solar event, a celestial alignment that will activate long-dormant genetic traits in humanity. and some fear it predicts the gradual erosion of individuality in favor of a hyper-connected collective mind. While much of this remains in the realm of speculation and myth, the growing number of overlapping predictions and real-world parallels lends credence to the possibility that something or someone is watching. Whether it is a society of ancient wisdom keepers, a rogue AI analyzing historical data, or simply a myth humanity tells itself to make sense of chaos, the legend of the hidden society that predicted every major world event refuses to die. It lingers in the margins of history, in the footnotes of forgotten texts, and in the warnings that echo just before the world changes again. In the end, perhaps the most chilling realization is not that such a group exists, but that they must exist. That someone, somewhere, is always watching, always calculating, always preparing for what comes next. And if their predictions continue to hold true, then we may soon find ourselves living through the next chapter in their unfathomable script. Whether we meet it as free agents of change or as actors in a carefully written play, may be the final question humanity must answer.